Okay, yeah. So it is very important that you reach out and find some type of support system during this time. Definitely. Okay. Stage 5, bargaining. So now this stage was kind of interesting to me because I did not think of it that way. But then when I really delved into it, yeah, we do this. So the bargaining stage is like the last ditch attempt to come to terms with the diagnosis. After a while, the parents start to bargain whether a higher power, what we believe, whoever you believe in, God, the universe, spirit, Muhammad, whatever, you start to bargain with them. Like, Lord, if I do this, heal my child. If I do that, Lord, please, take away the autism. So it's interesting that I at first I didn't think this was one of the like stages I was going to lump this together, but actually this is really all by itself. You do go through a stage where you just finding bargaining chips, with whomever, whatever you believe for that healing. Like I have on the slides, like, let's make a deal. Okay, Lord, I will stop smoking if you heal my child. Okay, I will do this. I will do this. I'll start going to church more or whatever if you heal my child. So the stage 5 is one of the, I think that we start to do this when we really start to understand and really get into like, okay, I know what it is. I believe what it is. I believe that my child has autism. Now, okay, now I need to figure out a way to get rid of it. And the bargaining section is like, when you trying to make a deal, strike a deal with, whom you believe to do a miraculous healing of your child. Like, if, okay, God, I'll become a preacher if you if you heal my child. So this is one of the stages that we do go through, and it may not be as you praying to God to heal your child, but most people do. But even like bargaining with doctors, like, do you have any special treatment, or calling people that are not like medically trained, or going to the voodoo doctor or something. I mean, people do all kinds of things when they're going through this stage. What you think, ladies?
I don't remember going through this stage. I honestly don't. Um, but like I said, he was diagnosed later in life, and already had chances to research it and know what was going on. So I know I've done the bargaining to try to make the ex-husband accept it, but that didn't work either. So.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Nikki?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a part of the stages of any grief. So absolutely, I'm sure that goes hand in hand. Even with just our regular kids, anytime something's going on, we definitely in a bargain stage for making it right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I especially I find I know Bolo is in the chat. Hey Bolo, and let me see. Bolo, Lance, Simon, who else is in here? Soul Tacha, it's Michelle. I had someone else in here. Hi guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Especially those of us that's in the church real heavy. And Bolo can contest to this a little bit, it's pray it away, take them to the altar and drown them in oil or holy water or something, and pray it away. So that's one of the and I can only speak for my community, is that is very, very big, especially growing up in the apostolic Pentecostal church. You got prayed everything away, and that goes into the on the another one of the stages where we talked about earlier, the denial, the disbelief, the blaming. Well, what you do? What sin did you commit for your child to be this way? So you start to bargain like, okay, God, Lord, forgive me for whatever I done. Can you please heal my child now? I'm gonna try not to cry. When I found out Mr. Caleb had autism, I told you I went through depression, and man, this was like the part where you really, really go deep and pull out that connection, that spiritual connection, whomever you believe. And Mr. Caleb stopped talking. And after the doctor told me he would never read, he would never, learn like the other kids and all that, blah, blah, blah. I went through the whole blame thing, and I blame myself for it. I blame, I did something wrong. And, so one Sunday morning, I went to church, and Mr. Kid was still a little baby. He was like 2. So he was in my arms, and I was in church, and I was just crying my eyes out. Because I'm thinking that something I did wrong that caused him to have autism. I mean, when I say I was crying, boo-hoo, snot, I didn't care. And Mr. Caleb was in my arms at the time. And it was so ironic that the message that the pastor was preaching, he said, when the scribes and Pharisees brought a deaf and blind man to Jesus and says, who sinned, the mother or the father, to cause this man to be deaf and blind? If anybody know the story, Jesus says, neither. He's this way for my glory. And when I tell you, I'm trying not to cry. Mr. Caleb was sleeping, but at that point when the pastor said that, he wiped the tears off of my cheeks and placed it on his lips. And right then and there, it was like God was telling me, oh, he's going to talk. And lo and behold, yes. Mr. Caleb is not, he started talking like a month or 2 later. So I go to say this, to say that, I know a lot of times people don't, put, faith in God or whatever, but it's so important that you have something to hold on to. And I have to say that at that moment, me and Mr. Cato's life changed for the better. Because then I became a mama bear. It was no more crying. Literally that one day, that Sunday morning, after that message, and after Mr. Caleb wiped my tears and put it on his mouth, I had no more depression. I just went in for him. So I can understand this stage a little bit, because I, went through that. God, where are you, God? Where are you? Didn't I do this for you? I'm a preacher's kid. What?
Amen.
What?
Okay.
I'm a pastor's kid, and you gonna do this to my baby? What? No. What did I do wrong? So yeah. Stage 5. Yeah, I did go through that stage. Ladies, got anything on this one?
No, you did great. That was absolutely great testimony.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah.
And look at them now.
Oh Lord, right? So my tips for parents will be: talk to family and friends about your bargaining hopes and join a support group. They may be able to provide you with some perspective as well as support you with your woes of being, you're going to be disappointed because the bargaining thing is not going to work. So let's go on to the next one. We rolling through. I'm thinking I might have to do like a part 2 to this y'all call, because this, yeah. All right.
And then green, but the child is like being, yeah, here he is. Yeah, he won't leave me be.
And that's okay. All right, guys. This is the one that we hope to get to quicker than later. Stage 6, acceptance and hope. Acceptance means that you feel some control over the situation and your feelings and about the diagnosis. Acceptance also means that you are beginning to look at your child and see the person and not the disability. That is one of the main things that I preach. Is that you start looking at your child, as a person, and not autism. I would never, one of the things that I've always put in my mind after that Sunday is that I'm never going to treat Mr. Caleb like he's disabled. I'm going to treat him like a regular kid. And that, because a lot of times when we label our children, they feed off of us. So they may want to become, become better, and make those milestones and things. But because we are just constantly looking at them like, oh no, look with those kid glove hands, you know what I mean? Y'all get what I'm saying? So, it's important to see your child as a person and not just, autism. Because in the long run, it's not just going to hinder you and his or her development, but it's also going to hinder the child as well. If you constantly, that's all you see your child as, autistic.
And I think a lot of parents turn around and do that to their kids.
Yes, a lot.
It's funny because, I'll see, monkey against another child who's the same level autism, and while they have differences, but they're the same level autism, but the other kid can't do half the things that Seth can do, simply because I have pushed Seth to be as normal. I'm not using the term normal. No one's normal.
That's for sure.
Push the kid to be as productive in society as he can be, because let's face facts, we're not always going to be there for them.
Exactly.
And if I do everything for him all the time, he's never going to learn those skills. Mm-hmm. And it, hurts me, the other autistic parents, kid handling their children like that and not allowing them to experience life and learn and grow.
Mm-hmm. Nikki?
Yes, I agree with you, ladies. Again, I worked in the field for many years, and a lot of the guys I've worked with were much older. So I got to see the parents in their older years, the 70s and 80s, like you said, in full acceptance and, don't wear their child's, disability or intellectual disability on their shoulder. These are, this is what he likes. This is what he does. He works, whatever the case may be. So just them being individuals, accepting that is awesome. I get to see the later on years, y'all guys are still pretty young. So to see that growth and the love in the parents and the child, prosper so much throughout the years, because there's so many programs that when they do age to a certain age, they can live independently
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's
Mhm.
so many resources out there now.
Mhm.
Yes, acceptance is beautiful.
Yeah. And acceptance is also means that you realize that there will be days filled with anger or grief and days that you will have strength. When we talked about that, we're going to be going through this circle, this cycle. One day yes, go ahead, Caleb. Caleb gotta go. And then be like, oh, my baby. I mean, hey,
Yes.
you're gonna do that. Some days you're gonna feel like mama bear, and then the next days you feel like a little cub, and you want to crawl up on somebody and cry. I mean, I've had many nights where I just cry all night long because I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Oh, he's getting so big now. He's a teenager now. Oh my lord, like you know. So yeah, and acceptance means noticing that you are fighting against and validating your desires to fight against it, or reorientating yourself to the reality of the moment you are in. That means, accepting your reality where you're at. Like, we're not doing a metaverse and stuff. Okay. So, so and also, this is a stage where you start to feel some hope. There is hope. You're getting the information that you need. Your child maybe now starting to get therapy, the services they need in school and things like that. And then at this time you probably see like little things that he or she is doing, like, oh yes, he can do these things that the doctor said he would never do. So this is a very positive point in the stages where you can how can I say it, see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
I love the comment that Trash Can just said. He said,
What do you
autism
think?
can be a power when the child got a mother like you behind him, pushing him.
Oh, thank you,
And I
Ocean.
have to say, many of these guys have some awesome superpowers because they can read the BS. And a lot of you people out there,
Yes, they
that's
can,
one thing
baby.
about them that I
Okay.
always love. The honesty,
Mm-hmm.
child, can be
No lies.
gold.
No lies.
Yes. Okay. Oh wait, y'all, it's story time, y'all. We're gonna talk about
Please,
Mr. Caleb.
please.
Story time. Mr. Caleb, that is so true. Mr. Caleb can read you. I'm gonna tell you something. If like a man that has a wrong spirit or something around me, oh, Mr. Caleb gonna put space between me and that person. He is not gonna let you come near me. Don't say nothing to me or nothing. Like, no, okay. he was not. I can remember. So we in New Orleans, and so you always gotta have a little old pervert neighbor. He was like in his 70s, but he thought he was pimp daddy. And so he kept knocking on my door asking for sugar and salt and all this kind of stuff. So one day he asked for, so he came to the door, knocked on the door. So I opened the door and Mr. Caleb came flying out his room and slammed the door in the man's face. And he was like, no, okay, no. Mr. Caleb was not having it, y'all. He was like, you get away from my mama, dirty old man.
He said, and stop coming to ask for sugar and shit.
Right. Caleb was like, no. Oh my goodness. But they do pick up on things though. They do. It's like their spidey senses are heightened more than anything else. And I have to say, like, the ladies know Mr. Caleb is like the Credible Hawk. This boy has the strength of 99 people. Seriously, like this whole thing with his foot and stuff. I'm telling y'all, it took 7 nurses, him being restrained on the gurney, 2 doctors, me, pop, and this boy still was moving the gurney. They were like, does he play sports or something? They was like, he is strong. So I gotta be a superhero, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. So yes, they do have superpowers, trash can. They do. They do.
Even the nonverbal ones.
Yeah,
Let me
yes.
tell you, you'll never know
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in their minds inside.
Exactly.
I took care of a lot of many.
Yes, that's right.
Very stupid.
Man said deny like a visa at the Dollar Tree. Yes, he denied that interest, baby. Yes. Caleb was like, no, not today. So this stage that we go through, this is like I said, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. And so we get to the final stage, guys. Uh-oh, did I go? Ooh, sorry. I'm missing one, but okay. One of my slides is gone. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. This is what it's. Oh, I'm like, where's my slide? Okay. So, for anybody that's in the chat, I'm gonna put so I created a pamphlet of this presentation as well as some work book questions for you. So this is sort of like some of the questions that I have in the workbook, so that you can kind of work through it yourself, especially the ones that have newly diagnosed children. This will be very helpful for you. So these are some of the reflection questions that I have for parents when they're getting to from stages 1 to 6. So here's some of the questions. What aspect of my child's true identity am I not fully accepting? What part of the diagnosis I'm still having a hard time accepting? And in what ways, if any, am I secretly hoping that at least some aspects of who my child is will go away, or he or she will become normal one day? That's very, very important. And another question you should ask yourself is, do I have any biases in regards to autism? This is very, very important questions to ask yourself so that you can get to full acceptance of the autism diagnosis. Again, I'm going to put the information in the at the end of the presentation, so that those who want the workbook and a copy of the presentation, I will send you a digital copy. So let's get to stage 7. Resolve to overcome. This is when you have a new perspective, you regroup, you reorganize, you do your research, you take it, you're doing your thing. You're doing your mama bed. You have, and some of the characteristics of resolution is you have a sense of relief, you got renewed energy, you're like, yes, we about to do this. You're sleeping better, you're eating better, you're learning to laugh again, you're being more social again, because now you come to an acceptance, and now you're at a place where, okay, it is what it is. I know what I need to do for my child to help him through his journey, and so let's do this. And this is the time where now a lot of the parents really get down with it and take action and move forward for their child. So resolve to stand up for your child. There are 7 principles that can be applied to serve as an effective advocate for your child. 1, take responsibility. Learn about autism. Learn. Please, parents, read. You have to become an expert at it. So if somebody asks you anything, you should be able to go with it. Ask questions. Critical thinking. Be discerning. Next principle is speak with authority. So when you go to doctors and therapists and social services, social security, wherever, don't be timid. You have to speak with authority. You have to know, I mean business for my child, because let me tell you all something, especially in the Black community. they not gonna help you. Just like when we go to a regular doctor for ourselves, you have to speak up for yourself. So at this point, you really, really have to speak up for your child.
Not just doctors, IEP meetings for
Yes, the schools, because they definitely will try to railroad you. IEP meetings.
I'm a scary bear because I got walked on so many times. So
I
now
know, I've been seeing it. Yes.
to go in and do your research and tell them this is a legal binding document. You're putting it in here.
Exactly.
You have to be strong and not let them walk on you. And I mean, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. And they will do it, especially if they think you don't know nothing. If you go in there and they think you don't know, they will try to give you any kind of bullcrap. They'll tell you anything. And you have to speak with authority. You have to speak up for your child. You are your child's voice. And a lot of parents fail to do that a lot of times. Why? Because they didn't take the time to learn and educate themselves. Know your rights. Learn about the diagnosis. Learn all the services that your child's supposed to have and can have. Alternative services as well. So it is important to make sure you speak up for your child. You are your child's voice. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, buts around it. Go ahead.
No one else is going to know your kid as well as you do.
Exactly.
You are the best advocate for your.
Exactly.
And I want to point out, in a lot of these facilities, workers get comfortable.
Yes.
There's a lot of favoritism when you come to managers and higher ups, and they're allowed to get away with things. So always be an advocate and, teach your children the names, so they are aware that these people are responsible for you and they have a duty and they need to follow that. Because that's where I'm at with it. I'll call somebody out real quick because, if you don't care for these people genuinely, then you need to not work here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
one of my favorite things, I got document. Baby. Okay. Look now. Sherry like, yeah.
Girl,
baby, you gotta document be prepared. Look, I had a whole big, my bond was like that big. Okay.
For every single year. Yes, document. Even if you think it's the tiniest, minute little thing.
Baby, yes. Yes. Document. Like even my career, whatever. I document. I don't get rid of nothing. It could be the slightest email because I don't trust nobody. I keep it. So everything. It could be the small, like Sherry said, the smallest thing. A phone call. A voicemail. Keep it.
A text message. Screenshot it.
Save it. Save everything. So you can be prepared. Document everything and be organized with it. Don't be fumbling all over. So get you a little system now to keep all this stuff together. I'm coming out with a little, a notebook where you can keep all the things in an organized way. So stay tuned for that. For parents, so keep things organized. So you can jot down every doctor's appointment, every therapy session, when it's supposed to be, who you spoke to, and all that jazz will be in this notebook. It'll help you keep organized. So we'll awesome. Talk about that later. Yes. That's one of the things I'm working on. Collaborate. Be a team. Like when Mr. Caleb first started when I was in North Carolina, his preschool teacher was my teammate. She was my teammate. She got me through it. So if I had questions about anything, and there were a couple of times where she went to the doctors with me. So if you I had to build a support system for me. So you may not have it right away. So, that was the time when I was trying to do humans, y'all.
Shout out to the teacher, Caleb's teacher. Shout out to you, lady.
MJ, Miss MJ Algiers.
Shout out to
Yes,
you.
she is like the best teacher ever. She still keeps in contact with Mr. Caleb. She can't believe how big he's gotten. On Saturday, you guys will see a few pictures and clips of them two together for the next presentation. But yeah, she was my support system, and then, she connected me with another parent. So we were able to play off each other. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Sherry.
You need to collaborate with other parents. Definitely. I mean, you and I, that's how we kind of met, is, in a group and
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have since built a group of women who are autism moms. Mm-hmm. And we all collaborate. You gotta have, it's a support system, when you collaborate with another parent, and especially if they're on the same level of autism, similar level, you can say, oh my gosh, my child is just doing this,
Mm-hmm.
this, how did you deal with it? How do you get through this?
Right. And so like you're building a community, really. Mm-hmm. You're building your own little community. And the most important thing is when you build a community with people that understand what you're dealing with.
And Ms. Todd, this is why I wear the stuff that I wear, just to bring awareness. So when I'm out in public, people see, they may think my child, is on the spectrum, but she's not. Mm-hmm. But when like you said, when I see other families out in the community and they're tensed up because their child may be having an experience out in the store, I got on one of my shirts, so it's like,
I understand. Let me help you.
I understand. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it kind of changes the child's dynamic because they're like, who is this person? So it kind of snaps them out of it.
Like, okay, maybe I need to act right.
Now they're looking for protection.
Right,
now
exactly.
They're looking for protection. That's what I do notice. Now,
like, okay, I'm feeling fuzzy.
No more. I want her to protect me from this lady because who is she coming over? Why is she talking to us? But then it eases, and he might still wind up having the fit, but it calms her a little bit. And I say her because usually it is
the mom. Yeah. So this part is another set of reflection questions. Again, I'll put the email address in there so that anybody that wants the workbook, I'll send it to you. So these are some of the reflection questions that you might want to ask yourself, and kind of take it down and try to really dig deep and answer the questions honestly, so that you be able to move forward and towards going through this journey with your child. Let me just read one or two questions. It says, how are you being gentle with yourself? Where are you in the process? And we talked about that, being patient with yourself. How are you doing? How are you doing? Because we are so concerned about the child, but how are you doing, Mom? How are you doing, Dad? And that's one of the things we need to really yeah. So these are some of the questions that that's in the workbook. Now what, guys?
Here's what you missed on the last episode of Red Lipstick Vibes. Don't forget to like, comment,